Hello again, everybody. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about having the zodiac sign Scorpio on the 8th house cusp in a natal chart. Now, Scorpio on the 8th house cusp, I think an obvious conclusion one can come to is that this person would really, in many cases, disdain any kind of superficiality, I should say, in as far as with a sexual partner. It could be somebody that really has strong, intense sexual desire in nature, and it could be somebody that may even be able to somehow transform and regenerate, perhaps through the sexual partner. Maybe someone attracted to a person that is very, seems magnetic, charismatic, very powerful, somebody that may embody some Scorpio like traits, is that ability to regenerate and transform, be very intense, and somebody that really someone that can be very perhaps dominant, but it might be on the negative side. It could attract people that have some negative Scorpio characteristics as well, as far as a sexual partner may go, such as something connected with being manipulative or vengeful or vindictive. So it's something to look out for, and the person may need to guard against manipulation in general as far as with the sexual partner. Now, the 8th house also governs death, and as far as death may go, perhaps the person in some cases may die with and perhaps with some mystique surrounding the death, some mystery. It could be something where in some isolated cases it could be a sexually transmitted thing, where like I said, in some isolated cases, though I think in more often than not that would be no. But also there could be something also connected perhaps with the sexual organs at the time of death, and it might not necessarily be the reason the person dies, but it could be something that might be afflicted in that general time period or not far from when the person dies. So anyway, another thing too is that the 8th house also governs transformation and regeneration, and with this placement having Scorpio on its natural house cusp, this should be something where this person really this is something this person would be enthralled at, I would think, and be able to make any like a major change or transformation very readily. And this person may, perhaps transformation may be connected perhaps with Scorpio like things such as psychology, psychiatry, perhaps through the astrology, supernatural, or occult sciences, perhaps even through death. In some remote cases, if someone close to them, figured prominently in his or her life, dies, sometimes people can often use that as an inspiration, maybe to make that person, for example, make that person proud, for example, even in death, and just those are some things to consider with Scorpio on the 8th in the natal chart. And like I said, sometimes a death of someone can inspire somebody to make that step, because people might have the mindset, well, this person that figured prominently in my life has died, and I'm going to make that person proud, even though the person has died, such as carrying on a legacy or tradition or something with the family, for example. Now, another thing too is that the 8th house is connected with shared resources. Now, shared resources, the person may need to guard against perhaps things connected perhaps with maybe manipulation or some vengeance, and not necessarily by the person, his or herself, but by maybe that partner that they may be in business with, for example, and they need to maybe be careful as far as this goes. But one thing, in most cases, that it will be very intense situation, good or bad, as far as the shared resources may go. Shared resources may include things that are connected with Scorpio, like things such as astrology books, for example, things connected with the supernatural, occult, even things regarding maybe even psychology, maybe things connected with some maybe books or something connected with forensics, investigation. If this person, as a kid, may have had some, even in some remote cases, may have had like some kind of like detective kit or something, or chemistry lab, and just something where they're finding things out, and this person might have possessions that may be associated with this. And back in the day, before we had the computer do these things for us to facilitate these kind of things, maybe people that are old enough to remember may have used the old protractor and compass to help draw up a natal chart. And maybe, for example, this person might have had these kind of things when they were younger, or back in the days when we didn't have the internet to generate websites to generate astrological natal charts. Now, another thing that is connected with the 8th house is inheritances. Now, this person may be the type, if he or she is the executor of a will, may be the one that wants to control the strings. And when I say manipulate, I don't mean in necessarily the derogatory sense, but be able to have that full control over who gets what and who doesn't. And if this person is involved in inheritance and receives something, or doesn't receive what he or she wants, there might be perhaps a little scorned, revengeful attitude connected with this. And so that's something to obviously, I think, be careful of if someone has Scorpio on the 8th house cusp in a natal chart. And also there might be something as far as inheritance go, and as to maybe if this person doesn't receive what he or she is necessarily feels that he or she's entitled to, maybe there's some mystery surrounding it that may confound the person. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for having Scorpio on the 8th house cusp in a natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about having Sagittarius on the 8th house cusp in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.